Hey, this is Will. So in this episode, I'm going to tell you how to become a digital nomad. I watched a couple of videos on this topic to see whether I should release this episode in general or not, and I didn't really find them very actionable or very useful. So in this episode, I'll try to actually give you some useful tips, useful steps, what you need to take into consideration, some of the things that I wish I knew when I first started out my journey as a digital nomad quite a few years back, and in general, some useful tips and things that you need to take into consideration. And this hopefully is going to help you to understand whether you should become digital nomad to begin with, and if you want to, what are some of the things you need to understand. By the way, if you are into this digital nomad lifestyle in online business, digital marketing, all of that kind of stuff, then check out all of the links in the description. I have some very useful freebies. Also, make sure to check out my Instagram accounts for, again, some very actionable, very quick tips for productivity, digital marketing, and so on. Now, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, but basically there are three different ways how you can become a digital nomad. So the first one is to work for a company remotely, and I don't think I really need to say anything more about this. Maybe the only thing I will say is that if your current job doesn't allow you to do that, there are certain websites. Again, I'll try to leave some of the links of the things I mentioned here, but there are websites that are specifically for companies that hire remote and allow you to work remote. So if that is something that you're interested in, check out those websites. The second option is to be a freelancer. So basically work for different clients and sort of run your own thing, but you are still working for other people. And the third option is to build out your own business. So work for yourself. And this is the option that I personally prefer. And this is what I make a lot of content about. I think this is the best because you are actually building something for yourself and not for someone else. And more importantly than that, you are not tied to anyone. So you actually have the freedom of time, the freedom of basically being your own boss, doing your own thing, what you actually want to do. And obviously it doesn't hurt that this one, because you are building out the business, you can make potentially a lot more money. You're not exchanging your working hours for money. So the first thing that I think a lot of people don't really consider and skip, they basically just look up a destination that's a popular digital nomad destination and they pack their bags and then they just go there. But I would say that step back a little bit and first of all, do a little bit of research and thinking, how exactly do you want to approach this? So what I mean by this is that not all of digital nomad destinations are equal. So you need to take into consideration, what exactly do you want to get from this? I know a lot of people, they are, let's say, just starting out a business and they basically just want to go to a country that's much cheaper and they want to just work a lot of hours because the cost of living there is going to be much cheaper, so they can put in basically more hours. If they saved up some money, they can spend more months on their business idea than they would be able back home. Other people, they just want to have really good life, they want to have a lot of fun, they want to explore. So you need to take these things into consideration. First of all, you need to decide what exactly is your budget. If you're working for a company, then obviously you get a certain salary, so you know how much money you are making. Though at the same time, it doesn't mean you need to spend your whole salary as well. In some countries that you live, you might actually spend the whole salary because it costs a lot of money to live there. But if you go to a country that's much cheaper, you can actually put some money aside, you can actually invest some money or start a side hustle, whatever it is. But basically, I would suggest usually when you are a digital nomad, one thing that can happen to you is there's so many unpredictable things. So I definitely would suggest you put some money aside just in case for a rainy day if something happens. And in general, just decide on, okay, what is my budget? How much money do I want to spend per month? So for example, let's say if you know that you have saved up $5,000 and you want to go out there and start out your freelancing business or your whatever business it is, then I would probably not suggest to you to go to Portugal, even though I'm sure it would be so much fun for you and all of that. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to last in Portugal for that long with just $5,000, and it might take you longer to actually start your business going, depending on what exactly you are doing. At the same time, I'm not saying that you must just go to the cheapest destination out there, because you really need to decide what kind of person you are and basically, again, what is your goal? If you just want to grind and that's it, you're just in a work mode, then actually maybe it makes more sense for you to find a destination that's not going to be super exciting and there's not going to be as many distractions, because believe me, as a digital nomad, you come to a new place, everything is new, everything is so exciting, and you want to do everything, and you're meeting a bunch of new people, so you want to go out, hang out with people, and it can become very difficult to actually find time to work. So I would really say take that into consideration. For example, Bali is definitely one of my favorite destinations ever, but at the same time, I do know that whenever I go there, I am going to spend a lot of time just going out with friends, just surfing, just exploring the island, so on and so forth. So for me, sometimes I do like to go to a destination, and this is something I need to fix a little bit because I do have this on and off mode, and I do have like a grinding mode. And right now, I am in Istanbul, which you can do a bunch of stuff here. Istanbul is a huge, amazing city, but at the same time, it is a little bit cold, so I don't really want to go out as much, and that helps me out so much because I'm in such a grind mode just because of this. And then after this, I know I'm going to Sri Lanka in a couple of weeks, and there I'm probably not really going to do much work. I'm just going to explore and surf and all of that kind of stuff. So I would suggest do watch some of the videos. I have released other episodes where I basically discuss different destinations, what you can expect from those destinations, what are the costs, so on and so forth, and get a little bit better understanding. So first of all, see by yourself, what do you want? Do you want to have some balance and you want to still get a lot of work done? Do you only care about the work, or do you want to do very minimal work and you just want to go to the most fun place? And then go through some of these videos go to find some blog posts or whatever you want to do. Find what exactly you can expect from certain destination, and also how much it's going to cost you, and then see how much money you have saved up. And usually I would say, if you expect, it's very hard to know when your business is going to take off. If you think it's maybe going to take you 3 or 4 months, I would say usually add another month or two just in case. And one thing as well to understand, I feel like a lot of people that start out their journey, they are very money conscious because they don't really know when their business is going to take off. So they really try to save money, and there's nothing wrong with that. I went through that process as well. But what I did notice is, after meeting some people, they might go to a destination that's a lot of fun, but because they are very much restricted on funds, they are not really able to enjoy that destination. And then at the end of the day, they say, hey, this digital nomad thing is not for me, it's not really fun. I met some people like that in Bali that were like, oh, this is not really a thing for me. And then they went to Thailand, which can be much, much cheaper. And then they were like, oh, I actually love this lifestyle and all of that. So now another thing you have to understand after you done a little bit of brainstorming and realized what your goals are and all of that kind of stuff, I would say one very important thing to become a digital nomad, it's yes, you can technically just pack your bags and you can just go to a country, book Airbnb, and that is it. But honestly, I do think, especially at the very beginning, I do suggest to go to a place that has some sort of community, so it's easier to meet like-minded people, and that is going to make the whole process of becoming a digital nomad much easier for you. So I would say before you even go anywhere, join some groups of like-minded people, start networking a little bit. I will actually create a group for digital nomads. I probably already created it by the time you are listening or watching to this, so check out the link in the description. But basically, start engaging with other people, and once you arrive to a certain destination, check out Facebook groups, check out different websites. Usually, if there are a lot of digital nomads, there are going to be some digital nomad meetups. Also, what I really suggest when you're just starting out is join a co-working space. A co-working space is an easy way to meet like-minded people. So even if it's not necessarily what you need for your work, you might be able to work from home. I suggest you just join co-working space just in order to meet other like-minded individuals. Another option, what you can do and what a lot of people do is once you come to a certain place, certain destinations in the world, they have co-living for digital nomads specifically, and that is probably the easiest way to meet other people and make friends and all of that. And it's definitely going to be, I would say, on a little bit more expensive side, but you get all of these benefits for what you're paying for. And another option as well that's very popular, I think, with some people that are not too sure if they want to do this, they're a little bit afraid to do this by themselves. Join one of these travel groups or travel agencies for digital nomads. So again, I will leave links for some of these, but basically there are these agencies, companies, whatever you want to call them, that organize a bunch of digital nomads and kind of take care of everything, your accommodation, your trips, and all of those kind of things. And you just need to show up and you can go explore with a bunch of other people. And that can be, if you don't really want to go through this whole process of going to co-working space and trying to meet new people and all of that, this already puts you with a bunch of different people and can make this whole thing much easier. So in general, it really isn't that difficult, but there are a few additional things that you might want to take into consideration. And on my other episodes, when I discuss different destinations, I do discuss all of these things in depth. But basically, let's say if you're going to a certain place, you want to make sure that you can actually handle the climate, because for some people, some destinations, they are too hot or they are too cold. Also, you don't want to go to a certain destination when it's just raining and it's miserable. Also, depending on your work, you might want to make sure that that specific destination has good internet. So for example, now, as I mentioned, I'm going to Sri Lanka, and I know that Sri Lanka doesn't have the best internet, so that's why I'm doing a bunch of work now, because I know that while I'm there, I'm not going to be able to do as much. So you need to check these few different things to just make sure that you are actually going to be have enjoyable time, and it's actually going to be sustainable for you. But aside from that, the only requirement, so to say, the only musts of when you start this sort of journey or whatever you want to call it is, first of all, you need to, usually if you're starting out your own business, freelancing or whatever it is, you need to have a business registered, and you can register a business back home, or there are actually, again, you can Google, maybe I'll make an episode on this, leave a comment if you want me to make an episode on this, but basically there are certain countries where you can actually open company as a digital nomad and you get a lot of incentives tax-wise and all of those kind of things. I would say at the beginning, probably don't really worry about this. When you're not making any money yet, concentrate on start making money. And then once you do that, then maybe concentrate more on how to save money with tax and all of those kind of things. Aside from that, you also need to make sure that you can actually enter a country you want to go to. So you need to make sure whether you can get a visa and for how long you can get a visa. And one thing here to note as well is a little tip here. A lot of times when you look for a specific country, let's say if you just go on Wikipedia and you put in your nationality and you check, okay, I want to go to Thailand, I want to go to this and this country. For example, Thailand is a good example because I'm pretty sure for most of the people, if you look at Thailand, you will see that it shows you, okay, you can come for 30 days and that's all that it shows. But actually, if you look into it deeper, you will find out that, hey, you can actually extend those 30 days for another 30 days. Or actually now you have additional visas that can give you half a year. And in a lot of countries now, they are issuing digital nomad visa. So that allows you to stay for much longer time. For example, Portugal is a big there's a big thing about this in Portugal where if you're not European, you can get a visa, but I'm not going to go into detail, but basically it just opens up a lot of different doors that it wouldn't if you're just coming as a tourist. And lastly, the last must is get a travel insurance. And again, I will leave a link of the one that I've been using for years, and it's very simple and very, very good because a lot of times when you are in these specific countries, you really cannot know what's going to happen. And believe me, I have seen and heard of so many horrible stories because when you are abroad, the medical expenses can cost you a lot more than they cost back home because you are simply not a citizen of that country. So I hope you found this useful. If you're listening to this as a podcast and you have any questions, take the title, put it on YouTube, find a video and leave your questions in the comments. I'll try to answer as many of those as I can. If you think I missed something out as well, do leave some comments. Let's get a little bit of a discussion going. And again, if you're interested, you want to learn a little bit more about this digital nomad lifestyle or just online business, digital marketing, then check out all of the links in the description. Make sure to check out my Instagram accounts as well. If you found this useful, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, put on those notifications. Stay awesome, and I'll see you soon.